soon really a solid destruction. I dare you to predict that. It's cooking up. Yes, it's cooking up. Too long time the demons felt satisfied. Too long time they felt content. So it's always like that. When the demons feel too, like Ravana, felt so confident, even the demigods were afraid of him. He was the master of the three worlds. He was playing for Shiva personally on his Veena. Whenever he played Veena, Shiva appeared in front of him. He was a worshipper of Lord Shiva. He had a city made out of gold, not out of concrete and steel like the European Union, Brussels, It was made out of gold. He could have any woman he wanted. And even he was cursed that he cannot force women to have sex with him. He was so good. They all liked that. They wanted to have sex with him. It was also waking me up because in the Indian context, Ravana is always depicted as some monster, with the heads and some, like 10 Draculas at once. No, actually, I like the description of one of my godmothers. He said, "Don't be mistaken." Despite all these descriptions, Ravana was very beautiful. He was very strong. He was very charismatic, and he was very learned. So he was not some slobbering monster running around raping women. Not at all. He had a style, as you know from the Lanka description. He had a council with Vibhishana, and with other counselors. So he had a Varnashrama society established right away there. The only problem is, and Vibhishan told him, there's only one problem in your life. You could have all this. You kidnap Sita. It's the only problem. So if you give Sita an egg and you apologize, then you can have it all. And that's where the demon came out. Never! That's my Sita! And even Sita, he couldn't do anything with her because she was not submitting to his desire. And he said, "Never!" That's a demon. Then Vibhishana realized, this man is lost. He said, all this will be gone. And Ravana said, what? Because some monkey came here? Ha! But he didn't realize already then, not all monkeys just jump suddenly in your courtyard when you take sun bath and slap you in the face and jump out again. Who was this? Who did that? Angan. He lost his temper so much that even before Hanuman, he just jumped out of the ocean. And Ravana was just enjoying himself in his courtyard, in his golden courtyard, and he just slapped him in the face. And he said, "We are coming." And then he jumped back again. That should be a clear warning, and it was predicted that when a monkey jumps in that courtyard and does such a thing, the whole city will be wiped out, which ultimately did happen. So this is such a wonderful pastime. When I read this first time, I just read it from the first thing to the last word. It was a glimpse. It's a summarized Ramayana. But I went with this book around. I was running around. I was completely never read anything like this. Just imagine, even our entertaining industry, they will pick up this material, what they could do out of it. With today's technology, what kind of movie that would be? Wow, it would make Avatar or whatever to peanuts. This is the real thing. So this is what Krishna does. He is making the real movie. He is really to capture the attention of the conditioned soul and engage it actually in devotional service. Then another lesson we can learn from Ramayana, which is there already, thousands of years before the appearance of Lord Chaitanya, is a total adherence to the holy name. Ram Bhaktas, I saw Ram Bhaktas in India, they are so, like they asked Hanuman, where do you get all the power from? And he said, from this one name, Ram, And then Ram Bhaktas they take it so seriously sometimes. I saw them, they paint, they have a kind of stamp, I don't know what they have, brush or paint, and they paint tilak not like this. They just put Ram, 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 Ram all over the face. They look like really printed out. You know, yeah. It's Ram everywhere. Just Ram, 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 Ram. Because it's generated from Valmiki's examples, who actually chant Mara, 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 and you connect this, you come to Rama. Because he was so fallen, he couldn't even spell out the holy name. Didn't know any reason for that either. But by chanting it, even unconsciously, he became so purified that he became actually the author of Ramayana, which is very appropriate to our times. Because who is us? You know, what kind of qualification we brought to Krishna consciousness? We were all Mara, 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 Mara people. You know, yeah. I knew devotees who were even practically killing people. You know, who did the most grievous, sinful acts. You cannot even imagine what a person can do. It's shocking. That's when there was those days a big problem amongst the bhaktas at the breakfast, you know. They were always memorizing the old pastimes of the Kami world, you know, between the muesli, you know, and always, you know what I did? It's nothing! You know, I did something much, much worse. There was a guy, we had to stop this always, you know, just stop this, ugra, horrible talk. You know, it's just like this. But it was unfortunately true. Most of my godbrothers were coming from such a sinful background. Even I was horrified because I was just a mama's boy, you know. They looked at me also like that. They were going, who's this guy? You know, I didn't rob a bank. I never beat up a policeman. I never met a policeman before I came to this movement. I never had a contact, one single contact with police before I became a devotee. After I became a devotee, I had only contact with police. That's Germany, 1960, 1972. So I quickly learned how to deal with police, because I had to learn it. There were other bhaktas and godbrothers who joined at that time. They didn't have to learn one thing. They knew exactly what police is about. They felt at home in a police station. For me, I remember the first time police collected me, I was just like, whoa, what is this? What will they do to me? Oh, ooh, you know. Yeah, but then I learned even from our lawyer. Our lawyer we had a very special lawyer in Germany. It was a lady who taught me. He said, first of all, every policeman is a man. And all men, somewhere, when you pinch them in the right place, they shrink together like this. She made this. So don't worry. When a policeman harasses you, just give him my phone number. And we had it. We did that. We had our visit card, and when the police came, said, please can you call my lawyer? Oh, they really changed just by the vision of the visit card. And when they got here on a lawyer, on the phone, I didn't know what she was telling them because I couldn't hear. They were just on the phone, you know. I could just see how they shrunk and how they were smaller and smaller. Sometimes they put down the phone and said, get out of here. We were going, certainly, thank you very much, bye-bye. I don't know what she did to them. She was really, that lady was originally defending terrorists. After that she defended Hare Krishna. She just had a sense, she learned to really like devotees, but she was not really devotional in herself, but she couldn't just stand how mistreated we got in Germany at those days, you know, and how ostracized and how demonized we became. So she couldn't just tolerate it. So she was working almost for free. So anyway, it's just an example. But we learn from example of Lord Ramachandra how to uncompromisingly defend the principle. That, that he was ready even to renounce his own life, to take any amount of pain upon himself, just to be faithful to the principle, not to deviate. And this Prabhupada demonstrated in his preaching too. As tolerant and liberal he was not compromising one thing. He said, even if I would start to compromise, like beyond the four regulative principles, then I would have millions of disciples. No problem. Those days, no problem. I might even guess that somebody like Bhagavan Osho, had much more disciples as Prabhupada. Don't think we were the biggest movement, not at all. But what kind of disciples? His GBC, the closest circle of his followers, practically all died on AIDS. Why? Well, his preaching was not japa or holy name, his preaching was have sex. As much as you can. Because you have to live out your material desires. When you live them out, then they are gone. Really. That's really not in the Bhagavad Gita. In the Bhagavad Gita it stated these material desires can never be satisfied. So we have to regulate them and acquire higher taste. And that higher taste comes by simply listening about Ram, by listening about his pastimes, by chanting. It's stated even that whoever chants Ramayana, he will get so many blessings and so many benefits just by repeating the story. So this Ramayana and this pastime about Ramachandra is full of auspiciousness. And it comes very easy. You don't have to be a big philosopher. You can just listen about the most amazing love story, about the most amazing kidnapping, about the most amazing rescue actions. All the subjects. People love it. They're all the time. So why not here? Therefore Krishna is so kind. He is staging these pastimes in front of the conditioned soul, just to purify it and bring it more close to him. There's some questions or comments, or maybe details to be revealed and discussed. Yeah.
It can in one sense be very bewildering. There's so many incarnations or forms of Krishna. They're all Krishna just in different forms, different moods. But like for meditating upon Krishna, you have Krishna, you have Shishigandha, you have Ramchandra, you have all these incarnations. So how to
That's what Prabhupada commented upon this. He said, variety is a mother of enjoyment. So anybody can find his Krishna in a form he likes to worship most. Prabhupada opened the door to that. Of course, he was mainly focusing on first and of all worshipping Lord Chaitanya. This is Lord Chaitanya's movement. But that means that all the other incarnations are included. There were questions already those time raised regarding when the first temples came up. And then of course the first Indians came around. And they came with all kinds of demigods and this kind of things. And Prabhupada was clearly pointing out in Bhagavad Gita that demigod worship is for the less intelligent ones. But he said, no, when you have a big temple with Radha Krishna and Lord Chaitanya, and so we can have side little temples for the demigods if people want. And the offering should go like this. You first offer to Radha Krishna, and then you bring the Maha to Shiva and Brahma and to other demigods. So Prabhupada was open to all this, but in a proper order, with the right understanding of priorities. So in Kali Yuga, nobody can worship even Krishna without worshipping Lord Chaitanya. It's clearly stated. There's no way Krishna Bhakta and Radha Bhakta and this Radha and Krishna and all this and Vrindavan is full of this. There's no way without the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. Therefore Prabhupada was one of the first ones actually who established the Gaudiyataya temple in next to Krishna Balaram in Vrindavan. It's not so common. You don't find many. Now it's more common, but maybe. But I don't know. But I don't know all the temples. But when I came first time to Vrindavan, you didn't find any Chaitanya deities much. What to speak of South India? What to speak of Jagannath Puri? Jagannath Puri is absurd. It's just, that's where Lord Chaitanya resided. And there are even those who are not aware that Chaitanya was even there. So this is, Kali Yuga means that this is to be constantly stressed, that this is the priority. You cannot worship Radha Krishna without Lord Chaitanya. It's out of question. It's clearly stated. So that's the priority Prabhupada gave us. But then came Nishinade worship, which became well, you could say almost controversial. Germany, I was at the birth of the first Nishingadita installation in Europe. Actually, as a matter of fact, I think in all ISKCON. Nobody in ISKCON had such a big Nishingadita like we had in, it was before Mayapur. We had already in Germany such a big Nishingadita. Partially and mostly researched and installed by Krishna Kshetra Prabhu, who was spending quite some time in South India with the Nishinga Bhaktas, learning all the intricacies and details around Nishingadev worship, because Prabhupada didn't give it. Prabhupada said, our worship of Nishingadev is that we chant in the morning, in the evening, Namaste Narashringa. That's it. Prabhupada never gave anything else. Neither he was, during Srila Prabhupada's presence, there was no Shilagram worship. Shilas came much later. They started to come up. Prabhupada was quite upset initially about that. As much he doubted we will ever be qualified to worship Radha Krishna. When Shilas came up, I remember an example of a devotee who brought himself a nice Shila straight from Govardhan. He picked it up. Prabhupada forced him to buy a ticket and put the Shila, fly back to India and put it exactly there where he took it. Nowadays, of course, to speak such a thing, you get almost stoned with the Shilas. Because nowadays when Dr. Hans from Germany, he brought himself a suitcase with 60 Shilas in it. And he worships them right away next to his beer bottle. It's a big bottle. So this is all things which are unknown to me. I have nothing to do with this, because Prabhupada never really established these things. So we should be careful not to go beyond Prabhupada so easily. We don't have to. Everything is contained in the form of Lord Chaitanya. Everything is contained in the holy name. All these attempts to go further, to go more beyond Prabhupada, it's not needed. We shouldn't try to become more smart as Prabhupada and more intricate in our worship. It's not needed. Why not just keep things as they are? They are completely sufficient. Prabhupada said, even we would never establish Radha Krishna and worship Lord Chaitanya. Fine. Prabhupada said even other things. He said, even we would not have one temple established. Fine. We can just chant and preach and distribute books. That's the important part. But he didn't, stop temple constructions, and not at all. But what a trouble that was, right away from the beginning. But he established the temples first and foremost in India. So, because he didn't want his disciples to go to other temples. He didn't want that. Yeah, maybe for darshan, coming, visiting and this. But he didn't want his disciples to populate other temples. He wanted to have ISKCON temples. He was very exclusive and very precise over this whole thing. He told the devotee, you don't go to other people's lectures. You don't like our lectures in ISKCON? Then you give a lecture. But don't go anywhere. Nowadays, like I said, you will be stoned probably with the Shilas. Whereas Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj, this was already going on obviously during his time. He said, these Bhaktas, they are using these Shilas just to crack the walnuts. Bhaktisiddhanta, Kokishwara Babaji, they were very heavy sometimes. We can just mention it, but we cannot copy this whatsoever. From our side, it would be probably really an offense to, see things this way. But when Gokishwara Babaji said that this sage is here, this saintly person is here, sitting on these big yasasans, they just climb these high yasasans so they can pass through, it sounds in a different way from this height. This was very vividly the falsity attacked, because Acharya means he exposed the falsity. Prabhupada was going after the falsity, not after the weakness. Weakness is another thing. Yeah, people are weak. They do it. They're even stupid. They say stupid things. Prabhupada says, yeah. Well, I don't know, I saw Krishna tonight. It's okay. Just chant Hare Krishna. What you saw, what you think in your stage is completely irrelevant. Just chant Hare Krishna. But when somebody established himself in his falsity and tried to even preach to others this bogus thing, that means a cheater. And that's what Prabhupada was fighting against. Very heavy and very uncompromising. So this is the inspiring book, Ramayana, because it's full of this righteousness. You know, on every step. Even when Ramachandra shoots from behind, Sugriva, when he shoots him from behind, which is really not a Kshatriya style, he gives him here the explanation why it happened. Because he took a wife of another. It's all, there's always a reason to what Krishna is doing. Krishna is never whimsical. Even he could. He's God. He could just do something far out. Some cube form of a planet and put it there in a space. Suddenly there's a cube rotating. Nothing around about it. Krishna can make such a joke. Why not? No, it's all around. Krishna is quite predictable in his creation. Quite predictable. His style and handwriting you can see everywhere. Like handwriting. Handwriting is something which is very closely connected to a person. And you can see it. Therefore, even today, in a computer age, and pin this and pin that and pin code and this and that, the handwriting is ultimately always the proof. You sign, signature. So Krishna has also signature. That's what brought me to Krishna consciousness. Through art, I found out observing things, because art brings you to a point you observe various things very closely. There's a signature. Like there's a spiral. And you find spiral in the microcosmos, and you find spiral in the big cosmos too. It's all shapes like this. These shapes are repeating themselves. I was going, that's amazing. Somebody must have done that. There's Krishna likes. Do you know that in the nature there is never a straight line? Krishna doesn't like straight lines. That's people made. Krishna never has a line or linear goes with a water rage. There's always a swinging. Krishna is always swinging. Sound is swinging. Sky is swinging. It's all in swinging because it's all issuing from a sound. And you don't have a straight sound. There's no straight sound. There's always vibration. It's vibrant. Vibrant means there's no straight line. I can give you more intricate explanation. It's known even in the military, you know that? In the military they know, if you want to blend with the landscape, cover all straight lines. It's called camouflage. Because gun, cannon, it's all straight lines. And that attracts attention. So you want to blend with the landscape, you have to cover it. Snipers, that's kind of people who can come very close and shoot you. They have foul outfits with one purpose, to cover any straight line, just to blend. So this signature, Krishna's handwriting is everywhere. It's just we are so stupid and so lusty and so covered, we don't see it. Therefore this technocratic society creates only lines. Kitchen line, and production line and pipeline and, it's all pipe, it's all straight. Man-made line, steel, metal, cold, no ornament, no decoration, no art, functionalism. You don't know the architecture and this is all this rubbish you see around here. All this new modern 90-degree steel, metal, glass, no sign almost of any variety, nothing. And people become like that. You look at the latest design of kitchens, it's like morgue, stainless steel. You could open a cupboard, there's a dead body inside. It's the same thing. It's the same design. It's ice cold and everything is straight and this, that. You look how they renovated this house here next to us. It's all white. It's a hospital. And the kitchen inside, it's a hospital. It's all... No sign of individual creative something. They all cover Krishna's steps. They are all covering Krishna's design with their own demonic design. Dark, artificial illuminated. Everything is like that. I could write you a whole book and essay about this. How the Mayavada is penetrating everything. Architecture, speech, everything. People used to speak in an eloquent way to enlighten each other. Now it's just, just base eating, sleeping, mating and defending in the most basic way. Just what you need to get to the next sex life. Skip the love you and this kind of things. Hey, skip the name even. Why should I not know your name? I just want to have sex with you. Why? That's all. Even animals are more romantic nowadays. The birds, the dances and this and that. And humans, get it, do it. No, don't go to sleep. Savages. When Krishna is, when you see, this is what I perceive as an artist even, as being kitsch, means something too much. This Krishna consciousness is too much, all the decoration. Some people artists get upset, But this is too much color and it's too much form and it's too much flower and it's too much variety and I heard complaints like this in Krishna consciousness. And they are very confused because they cannot connect this to the lifestyle of the devotees. The brahmachari is usually not so artistic, it's just one clothes here, one clothes there, and here we go, So, but they are confused. How can a sannyasi, who is really should be the most simple man, in his physical appearance and in his demands, and most austere, no sex life, but he can for hours speak about women, the gopis, in a completely colorful, romantic way. They are a little confused because they see it all in a very, very mundane way. But when Krishna starts his art, it was they say in Vaikuntha, every word is a song. It's a poem. They don't speak to each other like transmitting the information. No. There has to be. I don't know, but surely to every language there is also an intricate part. I would like to see the Danish one, but anyway, I don't want to insult anybody here. But I know in all the French and Slavian countries and this, there is a language people just talk on the street, that's the Shudra type, which is consisting mainly of curses. And then there is then there is a language you want to express. Usually you have nothing to say, but you want to say it in a very colorful way. So, so there are such things. People used to strive for some so-called enlightenment and some, uplifting conversation, uplifting thing. Here you can just in Kali, you can just look at the person and you are depressed. You are not uplifted at all. This is the result of the consciousness created. Therefore Ramayana was invented by Krishna, so we can speak about the most colorful and amazing pastimes of Krishna and become in this way evident. So Prabhupada didn't suppress any, but we generally follow his mood of worship, his priorities. I cannot interpret what Prabhupada would say about the Nishingari worship today or about the Shiva worship.